Yo, what is good, YouTube? Krishan checking back in with another video. If you would like to support me or the channel in any way, you can do so by liking this video, hitting the sub button, and turn on that notification bell as well so you never miss an update over here at Go Fitness. So today I'm actually going to be doing a breakdown of Iain Valliere's 2021 season. I wanted to drop this video yesterday because it was Ian's birthday, but I was feeling a little under the weather, so I just decided to go ahead and work on it this morning. So Ian's first show of the year was at the Tampa Pro. He won against the likes of Phil Clahar, Max Charles, and Charles Griffin. Phil Clahar placed in second, Charles Griffin in third, and Max Charles in fourth. There was a lot of hype for Charles Griffin going into this show and not too much hype for Phil Clahar. He's in his late 40s. I'm not sure if he's quite 50 yet, but for sure late 40s. And he bought one of his most impressive packages to date. And a lot of people didn't really like this package from Ian. I feel like this was kind of a warm-up package, seeing as Ian's always said he kind of gets better as the season progresses. But taking a second look at this package, it was pretty good. He ended up improving his side tricep pose even more than this. It looks a little uncomfortable, but I still like it here. I still like how tight his midsection looks. I also like the execution of Ian's side chest and the side tricep. A lot of people don't like his executions. I feel like they're not necessarily standard, but they make his physique look so much better. Ian's best shots would be his front leg spread and probably his side shots. His back double is also improving. But this was an amazing package that he brought to the Tampa Pro, and I honestly almost forgot that he won this show. And then Ian went on to compete at the Texas Pro against the likes of Steve Kuklo and a even better Phil Clahar once again. And a lot of people was upset at Iain Valliere because they're like, he's taking away someone's Olympia qualification. But I mean, hey, you're a professional bodybuilder. Your job is to compete. So I had no problem with Ian doing this competition. And he just looked statuesque in this picture. And I'm not sure if it was just the lighting, because this was the best lighting of any show, but this was probably the best Ian to date. And something that I started to see throughout the season, it seems like Ian wasn't able to connect with his quads as much at the other shows as he was able to do in this show. Because as you guys can see, the separation of his quads here are crazy. So Ian is always conditioned at every show, but at some of the later shows, I don't think he's connecting with his quads. So a lot of people don't see that he's in shape. But me, I'm a person that follows Ian on Instagram too, so I see every update. Excuse me. And Ian is pretty much always conditioned and peeled. So this Texas showing was a great showing. It was arguable to some people. Phil Clahar could have won. Steve Kukla could have won. I don't think anyone would have really batted an eye. But when you want to check every box of conditioning, muscularity, symmetry, I think that's why Iain Valliere is beating these guys. And in the later competitions, honestly, I believe Ian shouldn't be beating some of these guys, but his crazy conditioning just pushes him ahead. And then you guys know Iain Valliere decided to compete in the Arnold Classic. Now, going into this Arnold Classic, honestly, I saw the possibility of Ian winning this show. You know, I feel like he's a little more, I guess, aesthetic. Not aesthetic, but he isn't as mass monster-ish as Nick Walker. So I felt like the Arnold kind of wouldn't award just a super mass monster such as Nick Walker, even though I knew that he would be the best bodybuilder on that stage. But Ian actually ended up placing second in this show, and this was very arguable because at prejudging, they had Steve Kuklo and Nick Walker in a two-man call-out. So going into finals, it's like we already know who the top two were. But somehow, Iain Valliere snuck up and ended up getting second place. Now, me personally, I had no problem with it. A lot of people did, but Kuklo's abs are like really washed out, and he doesn't have the same level of conditioning as Ian. Like structurally, Ian should not be beating Steve Kuklo, but Ian was just so much more conditioned. He had so much detail in the serratus and the midsection. I believe it edged him out against Steve Kuklo, and I had no problem with Ian beating Steve. But that was still an amazing Steve, and I'm glad to see what he's going to bring to the next Arnold Classic. And finishing up the season at the Mr. Olympia, where Iain Valliere took a 7th place for the second year in a row. And in my honest opinion, I don't believe 7th place was too far-fetched for Iain Valliere. William Bonac was in 6th, and in a podcast, Ian said he felt like he could have beat Bonac. I don't feel like Ian could have beat Bonac, but I do feel like Ian could have beat Hunter Labrada. Even though Hunter was all the way up in 4th place, I could have seen Nick Walker in 4th, Bonac 5th, Iain Valliere in 6th with Hunter Labrada in 7th. I felt like Hunter was pretty comparable with Akeem Williams. But once again, guys, I wasn't there in person. And let me not get into a Hunter rant. This is about Iain Valliere. But this was an amazing package. Definitely not the best Ian of the season. And him and Nick talked on the podcast. And Nick was like, are you feeling a little worn out after doing some of these shows? And he was like, yeah. So I believe the best package that Ian brought was to the Texas Pro. I believe Ian said his favorite was the Texas Pro maybe, and I think the Arnold Classic night show was his second favorite. But going forward, how do you guys think Iain Valliere would do? He's not one of the most genetically gifted athletes as far as roundness, such as like a Phil Heath or maybe a Keon Pearson. He's one of those guys that's just like big, grainy in condition, such as I don't want to say James Hollings said, such as like a Branch Warren or such as like a Dorian Yates. He's just big in condition, you know what I'm saying? So how do you guys think he will do in the future? Can Iain Valliere be a future Mr. Olympia? Will he peak out at maybe top 3, top 2 even? Let me know in the comment section below. But Ian definitely has a very bright future. I hope you guys did indeed enjoy this video. If you would like to support me or the channel in any way, you can do so by liking this video as well as subbing to the channel. Hit that notification bell as well so you never miss an update over here at GOAT Fitness, man. I'm out.